Hey everyone, welcome back to Clarity English Podcast. I'm Emma, and today we're tackling two words that confuse English learners at every level.
Hi everyone, I'm Mike. Today's topic is affect versus effect. These two words look similar, sound somewhat similar, but mean completely different things.
This is one of those topics where even native English speakers sometimes pause and think about which one is correct.
The confusion is understandable because they sound almost identical, but once you understand the difference, you'll use them correctly forever.
And here's something important. Using the wrong word makes you sound less educated to native speakers, so mastering this matters.
By the end of this episode, you'll understand the core difference and be able to choose the right word instantly.
Let's jump in and clear up this confusion once and for all.
This is going to be really straightforward once we break it down for you.
All right, here's the fundamental difference. Affect is usually a verb. Effect is usually a noun.
That's the core concept, verb versus noun. Once you remember that, everything else makes sense.
Affect as a verb means to influence something or someone, to have an impact on something, to change something.
Effect as a noun means the result of something, the consequence, the outcome that happened because of something else.
So if something affects you, there will be an effect. The verb causes the noun.
Example, the weather affects my mood. The weather, subject, influences or changes your mood. Affect is the action.
Another example, this medicine will affect your energy levels. The medicine will influence or change your energy. It's an active verb.
Climate change affects polar bears. Climate change influences and harms polar bears. The verb shows the action of influencing.
Stress affects my health. Stress influences my physical and mental health. The verb shows this influence.
Here's important. Affect doesn't always mean negative influence. It can be positive or negative.
Good nutrition affects your health positively. Positive influence. Negative friends affect your behavior negatively. Negative influence.
Both use affect because both are about influencing. The direction doesn't matter. Affect just means to influence.
Affect can also mean to pretend or fake something. He affected a British accent. He pretended to have one.
But that meaning is less common. Usually, affect means to influence something.
When you see affect, think action, influence, change. It's something doing something to something else.
Now let's explore effect. Remember, effect is a noun. It's the result or outcome of something.
When something has an effect, you're describing the result, the consequence, what happened because of something else. Example, the medicine had a positive effect. The result was positive. Effect is the outcome, the result.
Another, pollution has harmful effects on the environment. The consequences are harmful. Effect is the damage done.
Exercise has many health benefits and positive effects. The results are beneficial. Exercise causes these good outcomes.
The new law will have immediate effects. The consequences will be immediate. Effect is the result.
Effect is always a noun. It's a thing, a result, something that happened.
You can count effects sometimes. The drug has several effects, multiple results. You can't usually count effects that way.
Special effects in movies are the visual results created. That's effect as a noun.
The butterfly effect is a theory about how small actions have big consequences. Effect is the result.
When you see effect, think result, outcome, consequence. It's what happened because of something else. Let's look at how these words work together in complete sentences. This shows their relationship.
Seeing them in context helps you understand how they connect and relate.
Sentence, coffee affects me by increasing my heart rate. Affect is the action. What's the effect?
The effect would be my increased heart rate. The result of coffee is faster heartbeat.
Sentence. The medication had positive effects on my symptoms. Effect is the result. What affected what?
The medication influenced the symptoms. The medication's action had an outcome.
Sentence. His words affected me deeply. He influenced your emotions. The effect was emotional change.
Another, the new policy will have consequences. The policy affects something. The consequences are the effects.
Notice how in complete situations, you often need both words to fully describe what happened.
Sometimes causes an action, effect, which creates a result, effect.
Let's do some practical practice. I'll give you sentences. You decide affect or effect.
Practice makes these words automatic. Once you practice, you'll choose correctly without thinking.
The weather blank my mood. Affect or effect.
Affect. Weather influences your mood. Action happening. Weather does something to you.
What blank did the movie have on you? Affect or effect.
Effect. What result or outcome happened? What was caused by the movie? Result question.
Lack of exercise blank your health. Affect or effect.
Effect. Exercise deprivation influences your health. Action of influencing happening.
The blank was immediate. Affect or effect.
Effect. The result was immediate. What happened? The outcome was quick.
How does this blank you? Affect or effect.
Affect. How does this influence you? How does it change you? Action question.
The blank of the medicine was unexpected. Affect or effect.
The effect or outcome was unexpected. What happened? What was caused?
Negative thoughts blank confidence. Affect or effect.
Affect. Negative thoughts influence or reduce confidence. Action of thinking causing change.
What are the side blank? Affect or effect.
Effect. Side effects are the results. What are the consequences? Results question.
Stress can blank your sleep. Affect or effect.
Affect. Stress influences sleep. The action of stress impacting rest.
The blank of technology is significant. Affect or effect.
The impact or consequence is significant. What happened? Results are big.
Let's explore some special cases and exceptions. These can be tricky.
Understanding exceptions helps you avoid mistakes in unusual situations.
Sometimes effect can be a verb, but it's very rare. This law will effect change, meaning to bring about or cause change.
But this is archaic and formal. Most people use cause change instead. Don't worry about this much.
Sometimes affect can be a noun in psychology. The patient displayed appropriate affect. It means emotional expression or feeling.
But again, this is technical jargon. In normal English, affect is a verb and effect is a noun.
For everyday English, remember affect is a verb and effect is a noun. That's 99% of the time.
The exceptions exist but are so rare that mastering the basic rule is enough.
In conversation, in writing, in tests, use affect as a verb and effect as a noun. Let's look at some common phrases using affect and effect. These show real usage.
Common phrases help you recognize patterns and understand natural usage.
Side effects, the results or consequences of medicine. Effect, because it's the outcome.
Special effects, visual results created in movies. Effect, because they're the created outcomes.
Take effect, to start working. The medicine will take effect soon. Effect as the result of working.
In effect, meaning in practice, basically. In effect, you're saying no. Effect, meaning the practical result.
Ripple effect, when one thing causes many consequences. Effect, because they're the results.
Affect change or cause change, to influence. Affect, as the action of influencing.
Butterfly effect, how small changes create big consequences. Effect, because they're the results.
Negative affect, to have bad influence. Affect, as the action of badly influencing.
These phrases show these words in their natural, common usage. Let's talk about why this distinction matters. Why does it matter to use the right word?
Using the right word affects how people perceive your English proficiency. It matters more than you think.
Native speakers notice immediately when you use the wrong word. It stands out.
In academic writing, professional writing, using these correctly is essential. Mistakes hurt your credibility.
Tests specifically check understanding of affect versus effect. It's a common test question.
Job applications, college essays, professional emails, getting this right matters.
It's one of those distinctions that shows you truly understand English grammar.
Once you master this, people recognize you as someone who knows English well.
Let's explore how these words appear in different contexts. Context helps understanding.
Understanding context helps you recognize and use these words appropriately.
In scientific writing, the study shows how caffeine affects alertness. Affect in the action. Results are the effects.
In medicine, the treatment had positive effects on patients, effect as the medical outcomes.
In psychology, trauma affects mental health. Affect as the action of trauma.
In economics, rising interest rates affect consumer spending, affect as the action of rates.
In environmental science, deforestation has devastating effects on biodiversity. Effect as the consequences.
In personal writing, your kindness affects people deeply, affect as the action of kindness.
Let's create memory tricks to help you remember affect versus effect forever.
Memory devices help these words stick permanently in your brain.
Think affect and action both start with A. Affect is the action. Affect is what you do.
Think effect and end result both start with E. Effect is the end result. Effect is what happens.
Another trick, A comes before E in the alphabet. Action, affect, comes before the effect, result.
Or cause and effect. The cause is the affect, the action. The effect is the result.
These memory tricks make it automatic. You won't have to think about it.
Once these tricks stick, you'll never confuse affect and effect again.
Let's look at some real-world example sentences showing both words together.
Real examples show how these words function in actual English usage.
Social media affects teenagers, and the effects can be both positive and negative. Affect is action, effects are results.
Exercise affects your physical health, and the effects include increased strength and energy. Affect is action. Effects are outcomes.
Climate change affects global weather patterns, and the effects are increasingly severe. Affect is influencing, effects are consequences.
Lack of sleep affects concentration, producing effects like difficulty focusing and poor decision-making. Action and results together.
The new policy will affect operations, but the full effects won't be visible immediately. Action now, results later.
Positive relationships affect mental health, creating beneficial effects for overall well-being. Action creating beneficial results.
Let's talk about common mistakes people make with affect and effect.
Understanding mistakes helps you avoid them in your own writing and speaking.
Common mistake, what effect did it affect? This mixes them up. Should be what effect did it have or how did it affect you?
Another, the effects of smoking. This is correct. But smoking affects health is wrong. Should be smoking affects health.
Mistake, I'm not affected. This is correct, but I'm not effected is wrong. No such construction.
Another, special effects. Wrong. Should be special effects. Effect is the noun for results.
Mistake, what will be the effect? Wrong. Should be what will be the effect? Effect is the noun.
Another, this medicine will effect you. Wrong. Should be this medicine will affect you. Affect is the verb.
Let's do a comprehensive review of affect versus effect with different sentence types.
Comprehensive review helps cement these concepts in your memory permanently.
Question format. How does this affect you? Affect in question form about action or influence.
Answer format. The effects are significant. Effect in answer form about results.
Negative format. This doesn't affect me. Affect in negative form about action.
Positive format. The positive effects are clear. Effect in positive form about results.
Past format. It affected my decision. Affect in past tense about action.
Future format. The effects will be long-term. Effect in future context about results.
Present format. This affects me now. Affect in present about current action.
These different formats show how these words across tenses and contexts.
Now let's explore deeper understanding of why these words confuse people so much.
Understanding why confusion happens helps you avoid similar mistakes with other words.
They sound almost identical in pronunciation. That's the first confusing factor.
They look similar in spelling, only one letter difference. That's the second confusing factor.
They're related in meaning. One causes the other. That relationship confuses people.
English learners from many languages struggle with these because their native languages might not have this distinction.
Some languages don't separate action from result with different words. That makes this distinction unique to English.
Understanding why they're confused helps you remember the distinction better.
Let's talk about how to remember the distinction in real situations when you're unsure.
Practical strategies help you make the right choice when you're uncertain.
When unsure, ask yourself, am I describing an action or influence? Then use affect. When unsure, ask yourself, am I describing a result or outcome? Then use effect. When unsure, try replacing with influence. Does it work? Use affect. If not, use effect.
When unsure, try replacing with result. Does it work? Use effect. If not, use affect.
When writing, if you're unsure, write a sentence both ways and see which sounds right.
When speaking, the memory tricks help you choose instantly without pausing.
Let's summarize all the key concepts about affect versus effect that you need to know.
Comprehensive summary helps everything stick together in your memory.
Key point 1. Affect is a verb meaning to influence or change something.
Key point 2. Effect is a noun, meaning the result or outcome of something.
Key point 3. The verb creates the noun. Affect causes effect.
Key point 4. Effect is action. Effect is result. Action comes before result.
Key point 5. Memory tricks help. Affect and action both start with A.
Key point 6. Effect and end result both start with E.
Key point 7. Common phrases include side effects, special effects, take effect.
Key point 8. Affect works with many tenses. Affects, affected, affecting, will affect.
Key point 9. Effect is a noun. The effect, the effects, an effect, this effect.
Key point 10. Getting this right shows native-level English understanding.
Key point 11. Native speakers notice immediately when you get this wrong.
Key point 12. This distinction appears on tests, in academic writing, in professional communication.
Let's practice one more time with mixed sentences. This final practice cements everything.
Final practice helps you feel confident using these words in real situations.
Final practice 1. The weather, blank, my mood, and the blank is noticeable. Affect and effect.
Affect my mood, action, and the effect is result. Weather influences mood, and the result is noticeable.
Final practice 2. Does this blank you? Or what blank will this have? Affect or effect?
Does this affect you, action question, or what effect will this have, result question?
Final practice 3. His words blanked my confidence, producing negative blank. Affect and effect.
His words affected, action, my confidence, producing negative effects, results. Excellent work, everyone.
All right, everyone, we've covered affect versus effect completely today.
Hopefully, the confusion is completely cleared up for you now permanently.
Remember, affect is the action. Effect is the result. Verb versus noun.
Use the memory tricks when you're unsure. A for action, E for end result.
If you found this episode helpful, please subscribe to our channel for more English learning content.
We create videos regularly to help English learners master challenging topics like this one.
Keep practicing these words in your daily English. Use them in sentences, in writing, in conversations.
The more you use them correctly, the more automatic and natural they become.
You're doing amazing work learning and improving your English every single day.
Small, consistent efforts add up to real fluency and confidence in English communication.
Thank you so much for watching Clarity English Podcast. We appreciate your dedication to learning.
Keep mastering English one word at a time. You're doing great and will continue improving.
Take care, friends. See you in the next episode.
Bye, everyone. Remember, affect for action, effect for result. You've got this completely.